Summer school is officially in session. Welcome into another edition of the Hops and Spirits podcast. We're into June, and that means Summer School 2021. And we kick it all off this week with building innovative brands with SLO Brews and Slow Spirits, or Slow Stills, out of California. We're joined by, here in just a little bit, by Rod Cegelski, who's one of the co-owners, founders of the different brands, and they're one of their brewmasters, Koby Collins. It's a wonderful interview. I got to try a few things after the interview from them. They do some amazing products, and it's really cool to see what they're making out there. But before we get to Summer School 2021, or at least the first episode, don't forget that we're going to have a fun summer with next week, how to start your whiskey collection. We're also going to be summer beers and cocktails and so much more, so stay tuned to our social media at Hop Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok for a lot of fun. And also stay tuned to our Instagram page for our superhero fundraiser to benefit CASA of Madison and Clark counties in Kentucky. We'll be giving away at least 6 different bottles. We got SLO Spirits Mezcal 2 times. We got 2 of those. Traverse City Whiskey's North Coast Rye, Chicken Cock Rye, Still Austin the Musician Bourbon, and Stellum Bourbon, and who knows, maybe a little bit more. Go to our Instagram page or really any of our social media pages. Follow the instructions. Click the link in our bio to see how you can enter and donate. When you donate, you get a lot more chances to win any of these bottles, which some are a lot harder to find than others, as some of these are very regional brands, but they're all making really damn good stuff. But like I said, we're here for Summer School 2021. Let's get it started. Joining us here on another edition of the Hops and Spirits podcast is we're doing our Summer School Session 2021. We're talking about building innovative brands, and we have 2 great guests for you this week. We have Rod Cegelski. Did I say that right?
You sure did, Jonathan.
Awesome. Who is a co-owner, founder of SLO Brew, and Koby Collins, one of the brewmasters there. Guys, welcome in.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, man. This is awesome.
Now, I always like to start things off with one tough question. I feel it's a good icebreaker. And since we're talking about summer school, I figure I'd make it a school-related question. So for you all, it's, did you sit at the front of class or the back of class?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Sure.
All right. I definitely sat in the back of the class for a long time until I realized that I had really crappy vision and I couldn't see anything and was failing in school. And so the teacher figured out when they did the eye test that I needed to be up front and get glasses. And from that point forward, I sat in the front all the way through college, always in the front.
I didn't have that problem because I wore glasses already, but I sat in the back of the class until I got in trouble and was forced to be in the front. So.
I like that. Rod, I was the same way. I think it was in elementary school when all of a sudden the teachers realized I couldn't see the board. I didn't realize that completely, but yeah, now I wear contacts, and I want to say by college it was just wherever I felt comfortable sitting or near friends, but yeah, I was back of the class unless I was forced to sit up front because all the other seats were taken.
Oh yeah, and the glasses at that age were so goofy anyway. They've gotten much better, but thank God I've got LASIK now, so it's, they just catch your eye, fix it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that because I think I'm getting tired of putting a contact in my eye every day.
Recommend it highly. You surf a lot better.
That's my biggest concern, actually, about wearing glasses all the time. Once I learn how to surf, what do I do?
Yeah, right.
Just get those nice little straps on, band on there, and you'll never lose them, right?
Oh my God.
Now, as part of our summer school series, one of the reasons I was very happy that you guys came on is you guys have done a lot of interesting things in the brewing, distilling, spirits, hops world, whatever you want to call it. But I guess it all started with Rod was with you and Hamish, your other co-owner, acquiring SLO Brewing. So how did that process go? And
well, I think it was a we were both in a position that this was kind of like a little bit of a second life for us. I was retired early from selling and growing a company. He was a builder who had also had some success. So, instead of buying, fancy cars, that wasn't really us. We thought, how cool would it be to try to resurrect this old brand that we kind of grew up loving. It was, SLO Brew is a 32-year-old brand now. It started the same era as Sierra Nevada. It's one of the, it's the longest lasting brew pub on the Central Coast of California. And but it had some notoriety, and it had some distribution early on through Trader Joe's and some cool brands like Fat Weasel and our Blueberry Ale. And it just kind of disappeared. It went defunct, but stayed alive. And we were able to pick it back up. And we said, you know what, this brand has really got a lot to us. I've had I think I drank my first real alcohol beverage up in SLO Brew. We both saw concerts there with our wives, and Hamish is Australian. The first place he landed in the Central Coast, he went to SLO Brew and had a beer. And so we had a lot of this history and kind of love, and it seemed really romantic. I will tell anyone who's listening who thinks buying a brew pub and going and launching a brewery is a smart idea. I would say it is not a smart idea. It cost us a hell of a lot more than we thought, and we really had to get out of the little four-wall business and build a full facility, and that's where the likes of Koby and Steve Courier, we had to, number one, convince some good brewers that we were going to actually do something and make some beer, and that counted. And what was really cool is that kind of evolved, that, we found out that beer is the great basis of making whiskey, and it kind of blew my mind, and I went, well, shoot, we can make whiskey? And we started making whiskey about 5 years ago, just on the side. And then that had blossomed as licensing changed and opportunities changed, so we could start Rod and Hammers and Slow Stills. So we have our SLO Brew umbrella, and then we have our Slow Stills umbrella. And now it's really quite a cool little platform, because we made up our minds a long time ago that SLO Brew is going to be about handcrafting the slow experience, which the Central Coast of California is this real experience for those viewers who've not been here. Come here. It's awesome. It's not LA. It's not the Bay. It's a really beautiful open coast, and we just love it. We just wanted to encapsulate everything in our brand, and that was through spirits and good times. So if we're having good times and we're making some kind of spirit, we're in.
And then how did you and Hamish meet? Because he's from Australia, correct? And you're a California guy. I mean, was it just by happenstance? The next thing you know, you guys love beer?
Like he should be like the surfer, but he literally sinks in the water. And I should be like a great skier, and he's a fantastic skier and like motorcyclist, cowboy guy, and I don't do any of that stuff. So it's really funny. We've got our land team and our sea team, and we met actually just as a social media. One of our restaurants and friends, and I've already had businesses in Australia from my last life, and I really like Australia, so we hit it off really well. And our daughters ended up going to school together, and riding horses together, and our wives are best of friends, and we travel together. I mean, we still to this day we're in a couple of weeks we're going to all go down to Mexico and have a great time. But we spend a lot of time together as family. So.
And then Koby, how did they wrangle you in to be part of this exciting venture?
Yeah. My wife and I were actually living up in San Francisco before we moved down here. We lived there for a while. I was brewing up there for a while, and we really wanted to get away. And I was talking to these guys a little bit, came down to visit them, saw the facility, and that's really what drew me in. It was the facility, it was our brewmaster, and then it was Rod and Hamish that just kind of sealed the deal, really. Wanted to get out of the Bay, and moving down to the Central Coast was just amazing. So once I came down here and saw the place, I was like, yes, I will take this job, please.
Yeah, and he brings with him a lot of creativity and enthusiasm for you can't really make it in the beer industry, what we found quickly, by putting SLO Brew on a label and saying IPA or saying blonde, even though they're beautiful beers. But there's 4,000 breweries, and there's out of that, they're making 6 beers each, 24,000 flavors. So if you don't stand out and you don't innovate and you don't create something different, it's really hard to make your mark. It's hard to win the tap handles. It's hard to win the shelf space. And that's important. You got to get, lips to glasses. And if you're just one little place, then you can only do it out of your 4 walls. And what he brings is a lot of creativity to say, I understand this, I can do this different, because his past experience brings a lot of infusion and innovation, which we love.
I was gonna say, Koby, what got you into brewing, and because for some it was they were doing a different day job and they were like, nope, not for me anymore. Is that your way, or were you always a guy that wanted to be in the brewing industry?
My wife one birthday like 12 years ago bought me a Mr. Beer kit, and I made a really crappy homebrew.
Mr. Beer kit, this is right.
And I just kind of fell in love with it, and I homebrewed for a long time, and then finally got my footing in the door at another place, and I just fell in love with the process. Really, I've always considered myself to be pretty creative, and it's been a really great way to be able to capture that really, and be able to do that. So I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time I tried to homebrew, and I'm pretty sure I almost destroyed our oven. Or our stove, because I didn't have the right equipment, and our house smelled like hops for a few days.
Yeah, homebrewing's pretty difficult compared. Like once you get all the right equipment and machinery, brewing's way easier than that.
That's good to know, but I don't know if I'll ever be going down that route again. Rod, you talked about launching, acquiring SLO Brew, bringing that back to life, then SLO Stills, but you guys have now got several products. I believe you have is it Tio Rodrigo?
Rodrigo right here,
and then Porch Pounder as well. So can you talk a little bit about those two, and then just why expand into those realms?
Well, again, I think it's all about we're a little boat, and we are very agile. And it's nice that we have restaurants and tasting rooms that we can experience people. But like our vibe here is we didn't want to just feed people beer. We wanted to feed them, whatever. We want to please everybody's palate in the house. So when we licensed all of our tasting rooms, we actually over-enveloped with the liquor license. And that allowed us to make great cocktails, whether they're beer cocktails, barrel-aged whiskey, that also we did the barrel-aged beer in it. He just made a beautiful banana stout that we had with our pairing last night that was barrel-aged in our whiskey barrels, and it is awesome. And so for us, we live in wine country. Both Hamish and I personally have, grapes on our property, and we have a partner in Porch Pounder, a young guy who's also our head distiller. His name is Paul. And Paul's family owns a really pretty winery up here, but he and his partner had a great idea in college to start canning wine. They were the early innovators, and they called it Porch Pounder. And he met us, and he goes, I just need you guys to help me. I'm just a one-man band. So that was kind of the start of our platform, right? So we said, well, yeah, we have salesmen, we have licensing, we have the ability. Let's bring it in. Let's offer some more to the same customers. And we're doing the same with our seltzer launch, with our Cali Squeeze. We're doing the same with our lights just went out, but we're doing all of these additions because like I said, we realized being a single brand was not going to help us make this happen. We had to be a little bit more agile and see where the market's going. And honestly, thank God we were, because packaged goods in this last year of COVID really took off. And if you were just dependent on only the keg beer and the tap industry, you're really quite screwed. So for us, we were able to get package out direct to consumer. If they go online, you guys can go direct on slowbrew.com and get our wine. You can get beer, you can get whiskey, you can get full strength cocktails, and you can get micheladas, you can get our corn chip beer. It's all there, and because of what happened during COVID, that made that available for us. And so that was really fortunate. It really carried us through the darker months.
And then you kind of mentioned the different brands. What's it like balancing those different brands? Do they all kind of complement each other, or is it a little bit of I don't want to say trouble, but obviously instead of focusing on one name, you're focusing on 3, 4, 5 now. What's that like balancing?
Yeah, it's not easy, but in a lot of guys' portfolios, if you're really just talking about the selling and telling about product, it's really not difficult. It's one presentation, and the certain ones really seem to go good because they're not competitive. Our Cali Squeeze line doesn't compete with the Michelada line. Our Pink Lemonade is it's not challenging anything that already exists. The whiskey is sold a little bit differently, and we have to go through different distribution partners, but the canned wine basically goes through all of our distribution partners and our same outlets.
And then you mentioned the Cali Squeeze line. Am I correct that you guys are working now with Firestone Walker on that, or transitioning the brand to them?
Yeah, that has been official as of a few weeks ago, and we're really pleased with the relationship with David and Adam, David Walker and Adam Firestone. They've been actually really close to us for a long time. They've always been friends and advisors as we've grown this, and they have a past history with SLO Brew as their original their facility up here was originally the SLO Brew that went defunct, and they were able to take over and of course expand it and make it into one of the most premier breweries in the U.S. And but we'd always talk to them about it, and again, our strategy was always to build up brands and in a different way, and get them off to like high school age, and then let them grow up and go to college with someone else, because Hamish and I, we don't really want to have that burden of saying, yep, we can go launch it nationally and we can go move this product up. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of money, it takes a lot of effort, and we don't really want to expand our facility to be a huge facility. We want to be right and tight. We just want to be an incubator of really fun products and use our same core team. So out of this transaction, they will be taking control of the Cali Squeeze beer line as well as the seltzer, and we'll finish that transaction probably around June 30th. Will be where we'll actually go slip, but we're working on it all right now, changing over the distribution and working with their sales team. But we're really excited about it, and we know that they're going to really help raise that child to become something special, because I think Cali Squeeze will be something special.
And then on the slow brew side, the Cali Squeeze was kind of one of your main lines, but you guys are also pretty heavy in the IPA world and with some seasonal lagers. Koby, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm an IPA drinker myself. That's my favorite beer, favorite style of beer. But so we have our main Mustang IPA, just a delicious West Coast IPA, right? We're a West Coast brewery, so we do those really well regardless, even though they're not our direction really. But then, yeah, we've actually been really diving into lagers lately, getting pretty heavy with our main one, Cerveza Clara, which is a TO brand. Super delicious lager brewed with rice, really nice, clean and crisp. And with that, we've been experimenting too with like our pink lemonade lager and trying to go a little bit more into that route, because that is what's really piquing a lot of our interest at the moment. And we did stuff like the Taco Works lager. We have a local taco chip company here called Taco Works. And we collaborated with them and brewed a tortilla chip lager, which I went and grabbed like 400 pounds of tortilla chips from them and brewed a lager with that. And that actually ended up turning out really, really well too.
It literally, we started off as just like, this is one of the oldest cool brands called Taco Works in our area, and it's super, like, anyone who comes here goes, oh, I love Taco Works chips. And we were just coming on Super Bowl, and we're like, wouldn't it be cool if we could just make chips and beer in one can and just do it all? And at first the thought was like, I thought it was gonna be like gross. And he explains to me, he goes, no, we'll do it. We totally can do it. So you could tell him what you did, but literally I got pictures of him pouring in bags and bags of chips into the hopper. And I'm going, really? He goes, well, it's corn. It's just corn based. That's all it is. And what'd you add to it?
We, besides the chips, we added some lime zest oil too, as well, just to give it a little bit more of that real like chippy, salsa-y type of thing. Mm-hmm. The base beer was just a really nice light lager, and then we subbed in. Normally we use rice. Instead of rice, we decided to use chips. Like I said, it was mostly corn. We did get chips though prior to being oiled and seasoned, because the oil wouldn't be good. The seasoning's too strong. Once you try Taco Works chips, you'll never go back to other tortilla chips. They're the best chips in the world. But they would have been too much before that.
But so it was awesome. Like even our own, like the Instagrams or whatever, when we put it on there, everyone was like, yes, this is insane. But then the question was, yum or yuck? And surprisingly, it's yum. I mean, it's one of my favorite beers we make, and we'll continue to do it during Cinco de Mayo. Like right now, we have it in a lot of facilities out because of Cinco de Mayo, and it was a big hit.
I was going to say, I mean, Koby, I'm guessing that it's fun to work at a place that lets you kind of experiment like that, because I don't feel like every place would be willing to do that. I mean, they might to some degree, but I mean, that has to let you guys do some more fun things.
Yeah, it's fantastic, honestly. We always take a little bit of a risk because right now we brew on our 30-barrel system. So when we do a batch, it's a lot of beer. And it definitely was a little bit of a risk, but I trust myself and I trust our brewmaster to not put out bad beer. So with both of us, like I was thinking about this beer for a while, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "You want to do what to start?" And we just kept talking about it, and then he was like, "You know what? Let's do it this way, and it'll be perfect." And it ended up being, it lets us do stuff like that. And you know, building brands like Cali Squeeze are really the thing that let us do that too, right? So I wish that we could brew really small batches of beer so I could get really crazy, but we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, it is hard. It's a small brewery. It's like to help them keep their juices going. I mean, the listener may not know, but you know, we make a lot of seltzers. We make some for ourselves, and we make some for other players. And when we ask these guys to start doing it, you know, seltzers seems really magical, but I feel like the best description is you're asking brewers who are chefs to make Jell-O, and because you're basically pouring, you know, a lot of sugar into a batch, and you know, boiling it down, adding the yeast, so you create this alcohol, and the consumer loves it, and then you add some flavor. And we do it, I think, better than most. I think we've really worked out some systems with our distillery equipment that we've made some really beautiful seltzers, but I'm blown away how, you know, we're having to ask them to do that for their innovation instead of doing something that they really love to make, which could be a beautiful pour, you know, just, you know, they have so many other things, like our barrel-aged beers program through our leftover barrels from the whiskey is so exciting. But, you know, what sells, sometimes you got to follow what sells, and seltzers sell.
That is true, and you adapt with the market. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm guessing the goal though is to still, you know, people want to come back and try different things, you know, from time to time. So I'm guessing that allows those guys to do it though on a larger scale, which can go good or bad.
Yeah. There's always that risk.
Talking about good and bad, this is really good, and it's taken a long time to make it really good. And when you see this come out of, and anyone who's a Michelada fan, this is with no additives as far as and preservatives or food color. This is all 100% real Michelada. And the color and what it took to make this so it didn't explode in cans, because these guys are really smart, took a lot of doing it right. But we had a lot of failures, but now we've actually perfected this Michelada that when you get it, and I'm sorry you don't have it in front of you, you will love it. The nose on it and everything is just spectacular. We have it both in mango and blood orange and just original, but the heat's just, it's just that pick-me-up beer, you know. Of course, Micheladas were kind of like the hangover beer. That's how you'd have them. If you had a rough night, you start with Michelada. They're a little bit lower alcohol, probably about 4% on this.
Yeah.
And we used, what did we do on this one?
What do you mean?
The base is our hef.
Yeah. So we went with the hef base, but we wanted to make it a little bit different. Typically, people like to make the Micheladas with like lagers or really light beers, but we started it off with our hef base because we wanted to stick with that really overall fruity beer, and then add in all this nice spice, right? This was the hardest thing we've done, if I'm being honest. The hardest beer product that we put together.
Yeah, this was easy compared to that.
Yeah. It took a lot of trial and error, but I think we really dialed it in, and it's has the right kick, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah. No. So people, when they first say, you just got to think of it as a Bloody Mary of beers. You know, it's really a beer cocktail, and it was nice that we hit this during, again, the pandemic, where people were able to try new things and we're buying a lot of product. But for sure, Tio Rodrigo's is something that we are really excited about. So now that we've made this transaction with Firestone on the Cali Squeeze, our new direction and focus will all be on TOs.
I was going to say, Koby, what's it like brewing so many different styles? Because is there ever a point that Rod or Hamish comes to you and goes, "Hey, I want to do this," then you just look at him with a stare like, you sure about that?
I mean, that happened when the Michelada came about. We had a meeting one day, and they're like, "Guys, we're going to make a Michelada." And I was like, "What? Really? That's what you like? How do you want to do it? What do you mean?"
I know.
But honestly, it's been great. Like, before I came here, I liked what I did, and I think I was fairly good at it. But coming here and learning all these different styles and brewing under a brewmaster like Steve, who just has so much knowledge, really made it pretty. It's pretty awesome. It's great, and it does nothing but make us all way better at our job now. Gives you a lot of ideas, a lot of ways to change things up. Like, we're not afraid to just drastically change something right off the bat because of it.
Well, and I was going to say it puts a whole bunch of different things on the tap list that folks can try and enjoy. I'm guessing, too, there's got to be a benefit to having all of this in addition to just having many things to try, but having a distillery and a brewery near each other, I'm guessing you guys get to do some fun projects with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've had a couple times now where our head distiller is emptying barrels, and I've been right next to him filling them with beer right away. That's really the dream when it comes to barrel-aged beer, too. A lot of places sell barrels, and you always got to be cautious with those because you don't know how they were treated or how they were saved. But being able to take like a freshly emptied wet whiskey barrel and fill it with beer right away is awesome.
It's awesome.
It's really, really fun. We've got a couple beers in barrel right now that are, I think we're supposed to start releasing them again in a couple months. Mm-hmm. We've had one that's been aging for about a year, one that's been in for about 2 years. Mostly big stouts, but it's the dream having that to my availability, really.
Yeah, it's a bummer. You just can't produce that much of it, It's so special. But that's also cool. But it's like we can't go sell it to everybody. But our beer club members get a great offering of unique stuff. And the distillery has definitely opened up our eyes to all of these different opportunities. And think about how cool it is. Like this, we did a whiskey night last night, whiskey and cigars, and Chef and the brewery and the distillers got together. But we had a little flight of the whiskey, and then you got to try the banana stout that came out of that same barrel. And that's a really cool thing. It's a real vertical flight that you get that taste, and you can see the little nuances. But it was really nice.
And then have you? I'm guessing too. Have you ever had a little bit of fun, and after using the barrels for beer, put it back and put a little more whiskey in it, or is that maybe down the road?
We haven't done that yet.
We haven't gone the reverse way.
I've always wanted to do that to see what would happen. I think we'd have to start pretty small, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could convince Paul to do that.
Well, Jonathan, we have a really unique situation in our distilling tasting room, where we filled up the walls with 5-gallon barrels, and we allow the customer to actually own that barrel in a sense. We put their name on it, we keep it all for them, we age it, and then we have to, through ABC law, we have to actually, it's more of a club, but really it's like their barrel, and it's in our facility, and they get a choice. The first pass, we usually do a bourbon, or we'll do a reserve rye. The second pass, we're doing a single malt. And even the third pass, we give them an option. One guy's doing a beer. He decided to use the same barrel and put a beer in it. And others are probably going to we're probably going to go to a tequila or to a mezcal and make an añejo or a reposado. But it gives 250 people have the joy of, being small-time distillers. And they love it. And that's like our little dinner last night was all of those customers, our enthusiasts, our evangelists. And it's a really neat thing to be able to see that vertical and change the same bottle. So they'll get one of 30 bottles that it's all theirs.
I love that. And that's a fun thing to be part of. And talking a little bit about the slow still or the slow spirits, I know you put your name in it a little bit as well because it's Rod and Hammer's slow spirits. Can you talk a little bit about that and then just how you guys decided to go that route?
Well, at first it was really a trademark issue because we own SLO Brew, and I went to go trademark Slow Stills, thinking how shouldn't be that difficult. We own SLO Brew. And lo and behold, that lovely trade market office said, nope, you can't do it. You have to personalize it. You have to add something to it. And as I thought through it, Hamish's nickname is Hammer. I'm Rod. It's very nondescript. Most people don't know there are two guys, Rod and Hammer. It sounds like a Rod and Hammer. Sounds like kind of, like the right thing. It's nice that it is our personalities. The Cut with the Pacific, we both, enjoy being around the distillery and around the guests, and we have personalities that enjoy being around other people. So it's fun. I mean, it's really fun for us.
And I was gonna say, what all have you guys launched so far on the slow spirits and Rod and Hammer side?
So far, you're kind of seeing it in front of you. We have our bourbon, we have our straight rye, we have a cask bourbon, and then we also have our reserve. Knocked down the whole board. And our reserve rye in selected places that we have on premise and locally, because we can't make as much as this as we can make of these. And then we have full strength Manhattans and old fashions in bottle as well. And so we'll be working to make those full strengths. You can't put full strength in can because it'll burn through the can. You can lower the strength, but the brand, our positioning for Rod and Hammers is true, bold, authentic. And if it's not true and it's not bold and it's not authentic, we are not going to make it. We're going to put the full strength cocktails in smaller bottles as well as the larger bottles. We will make a whole variety of them, but all brown spirit based. We'll not go into like vodka or gin or tequila. We are going to stick with the brown spirits. We really like that category, and we'll just see how that expands. And then we'll probably do some smaller canned cocktails that are less alcohol under the Rod and Hammers, and that's what we're working on as well. So what's nice about this transaction with Cali Squeeze is it really allows us some freedom to go and focus on these other brands and how they're going to grow an umbrella underneath this.
I was gonna say, it seems like you guys have a lot of irons in the fire and some cool things coming down down the road. But for both of you, what's your journey in kind of the beer and spirits world been? Because Rod, you kind of talked about it at the beginning. You grew up kind of enjoying SLO Brew before kind of acquiring it. Have you always been a beer and whiskey guy or wine living out in California?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Polish stock with big family, and we definitely enjoy spirits and beer and wine. I would say Hamish is probably more of the beer drinker than I am. I really enjoy the micheladas, but like for him, like he's a big IPA fan. I need more like the wheat beers, and so I was more a fan of that Cali Squeeze line. But I think on those spirits, for sure, I'm a spirits guy. And I love a great whiskey. I love a great scotch. And I think that the idea of California making whiskey, that's really what we're trying to wrap up. And it's our whole campaign is, this is how California whiskeys. This is, us. We're half surfers. We're half cowboys. We're, one day you can be skiing, the next day surfing. You can go on the same day if you drive fast enough. And it's that idea that can a good whiskey come out of California, and that's what we're working on. How do you make great whiskey out of California? So that's our goal, and I know everyone usually associates with it's from Kentucky, and but I think it's really working, and I love the feedback and the enthusiasm we have for it. So even when you see on the labels, I mean it's slow made with California, and that's cool. And so with Cut with the Pacific, we see ourselves having, everywhere we cut, I can go up to a big wave in Mavericks, and I can go pull water. Last week we were on David Walker's beautiful boat outside of the Channel Islands, and we were towing 2 barrels behind us on a rope just to get them soaked up with salt water. And we're gonna call them the gaffers because we lost one and we had to gaff it. But super fun. Like this is like just stupid fun stuff. And what it does is it just helps bake the brand that it's a real brand, it's a real foundation, real people, and really family. And we're not a big company. This is just we've got in the actual brewery and everything between sales and marketing, everything, we're probably 25 people. It's not a monster, but we're trying to build great things and, you know, put the real story behind it, not just, you know, crap out something.
I was going to say, it sounds like you guys are all about having a good time, which is kind of what you talked about at the beginning. And Koby, is that kind of how it is there? You guys are having a good time making good things?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, everybody that's done production work knows that production work is hard.
It's hard.
It's a lot of work. I spend 50, 60 hours here, give or take, every week. But I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it, right? We all love it. That's why we're all here. We're producing great product that we all love, and it's really we're having a good time doing it.
And then, if I remember correctly, are you going to be a surfer now too? Are you going to be part of the C team, or are you still on the land?
I grew up in Palm Springs in Southern California. I grew up in a desert.
He's going to be a dad soon. That's what he's going to be.
Yeah. Actually, my first one's coming in the end of July. So I don't
there's
know
no
if I'll
time for
have
surfing. He's can't.
Well, congratulations on that, and you know that's a whole new learning experience as a father myself to 2.5-year-old. Have fun with that.
I'm incredibly nervous. So.
Enjoy your sleep now.
Yes, that is the biggest thing.
So it's going to be terrible.
Now, before I let you both go, I guess one question for you, Rod, is what's you kind of talked a little bit about it, talking about now that Cali Squeeze is being taken away, you guys are going to start focusing on some of the other brands a little bit more. Is that kind of what's next for you all? Is just building up these brands a little bit more, or are there other brands that may be coming on?
Yeah, you know, we've surrounded ourselves with some really good people. We have a board of directors that we've curated over the last 3 years, and anyone in business, I would recommend you always curate a nice board of directors. And one's a famous brand designer from Stranger and Stranger, and he always is super helpful in our design. We also have Adam Lambert, who is well known in the beer industry from Dogfish and Rogue, and he's been a great partner, investor, friend. We have Simon Thorpe helping us out. We've got Tony Hirsch, and our crew is so helpful in being our sounding board to say, guys, this is the direction. Guys, move forward. And then it's just a question of really your finances and your ability to push forward on those, and your partners in sales and distribution. But I feel like we it's not our goal to sell a slow brew or sell a slow stills. It's our goal to build products that have a lot of potential and then move them through the system. But yeah, it's not like we love what we do. Hamish and I love owning this. We don't. This is like, our midlife crisis.
That's a good midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And Koby, what's some of the beers and stuff that you guys are working on that folks might be getting to try down the road here soon?
The newest, biggest one that's coming out soon is the Pink Lemonade Lager. We've produced it before, but we've kind of revamped it and changed it up a little bit. And then we have, like I said, a couple barrels that are coming out really soon. We've done like a churro stout before that we made an imperial version of that's sitting in fresh whiskey barrels. So those are the two.
What about the Aussie Kiss?
Yeah, our brewmaster came out with an all Australian hopped pale that we're going to be brewing up soon too. We're going to have some taps to fill, so there's a couple. Can't go into crazy detail on all of them yet.
But I do have the name already. We're going to call it the Aussie Kiss.
I like it, and that's a good tease. See, you give people just enough. They want to keep watching and seeing what
Aussie
fun things
Kiss
will be. And then my last question for you both is, because before we hopped on, Rod, you were talking about just the space and everything. What can folks expect when they come out there and visit y'all? Because you guys have the distillery, the brewery, the event center, restaurant. I mean, music. You guys have music too. I mean,
yes. Well, so if you visit slowbrew.com, you'll be able to pull up every one of our let's call it our assets. But we have a beautiful hotel that's located above our original building, right across from the Mission in San Luis Obispo, and that's called the Lofts. And there's only 5 lofts, but they're 2 and 3 bedroom units with, they're really pretty, full of fireplace, kitchens, and lovely place to stay. We have a lot of our friends and family always come and stay with us. We also have a 5-acre facility out here right next to the airport in San Luis Obispo. Literally, people will come and wait for their plane flight here at the brewery and walk over with their luggage. But this is called The Rock, and it's built around a rock. And people think that we built the rock like it's a Disney feature, but it's this beautiful rock that's all part of the Seven Sisters, which is a volcanic form here on the Central Coast that's pretty famous. And so we call it like the zit off of one of the Seven Sisters. And the rock kind of is our core basis, our foundation, and the whole facility wraps around it. So on one end of the facility is our concert event venue. We have people surprisingly like getting married in breweries and distilleries, so we've been having fun doing some great life celebrations. We also host some great concerts. We invested a lot of money into soundproofing and having a giant screen and this great vibe. So we've hosted some great acts already here in the new facility. And then we have our restaurant, which is kind of the house of where the beer tasting is. And then we have a second facility to the far right, which is Rod and Hammer's Slow Stills. And that also has food and drink and full cocktails and really tasting. But that's all about the flight experience and having all of the whiskeys. But it's just been fun expanding it. We built it all out ourselves from dirt 5 years ago, and to see where it's gone in 5 years just blows me away. It's a big facility, and we didn't think you'd fill it, but it's pretty full.
It's full.
Well, and that's a good sign, and that means things are going well.
Yeah, no, we're super blessed, super lucky.
When I said that I'm here 60 hours a week, it's not because I'm always working either. It's half the time it's because I'm at a concert or hanging out in the distillery or something. It's hard to leave half the time. So
no, it is nice. It's nice that everyone enjoys being at the place they work. We all of the families. It's not ever do I not walk on campus and see the staff enjoying a beer, having a hamburger. We have a great chef and team downstairs who do a great job, and it's a really very chill vibe. We were actually voted the most kid-friendly dining experience in San Luis. It seems odd that a distillery and a brewery would be the most kid-friendly, but it really is. I mean, we've got ping pongs and cornhole and big areas for the kids to go run around, but that's what's nice about having it out here at the Rock is lots of parking and really open. It's just a big backyard.
Well, and I was going to say, Koby, when you first birthday party for the kid, there you go. You've got a place ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah. No
I'm going to
kidding.
convince these guys to throw it for me.
There you go. I'd like to say
good parties.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'd like to say I didn't do that for my kid's first birthday, but totally did, and it was a blast at one of the local breweries here, and it was a lot of fun. So hey, it could definitely work.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Koby, Rod, I really appreciate you guys hopping on to talk about the many different things that SLO Brewing does and how innovative you guys have been, from the styles of beer and beer cocktails and even whiskeys that you make to just being innovative with different brands and seeing those grow, because you guys are doing some really cool things out in California.
Well, hey, Jonathan, thank you for recognizing it, and thanks for having us on. I'm just thrilled with all of the growth and the momentum and the fun that we're having. Honestly, it's just fun, and knowing that what we built, the platform actually works, that we can do this, and hopefully we can do it again and again and help get more fun products out to the consumers to experience, and try stuff. But we hope to see you out here. We would love to have you come visit, bring the family for sure, and we hope we'll be sending off some great stuff for you so you can actually be drinking with us next time we see you.
Hey, that sounds great, and I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Oh, man, did we kick off 2021 summer school just right. I appreciate the guys from SLO Brew, SLO Stills, Rod and Koby for coming on. It was a blast, a perfect way to kick off summer school. And I was able to try a few of those post-episode, so to speak. I haven't tried the bourbon yet, saving that one for the right day. But man, that taco lager, first off, when I posted it on the story on our Instagram, several people asked, is that like just chips in a can? Like what in the world is that? So just right off the bat, people were interested. And honestly, it tastes just like beer. It's just a normal beer, nice little lime kick. It was really delicious, perfect for a summer day. I had it on Memorial Day, nice and sunny out. Perfect beer. Also, I'm pretty sure it'd be perfect with some tacos or some Mexican food. The Tio Rodrigo, those were really like just a perfect blend. I liken it to, a perfect way to kick off your day, maybe early in the morning if you're going out on the golf course, or maybe if you're just having a few friends over, or really anytime. But it had a nice balance of spices and flavor. It was just really good, and I can see why these guys have been able to build brands that they're able to either let loose like the Cali Squeeze, or maybe not even build up even further like the Tio Rodrigo, because they're just doing some amazing things. Like I said, we got some more amazing things coming for you in Summer School 2021 next week. How to start your whiskey collection with Chad Watson, aka My Daily Bourbon. We also have summer beers and cocktails and so much more in store for you. I can't wait to share the full lineup with you here soon. And also, like I said, don't forget to check out all of our social media pages for the latest on our giveaway, our superhero fundraiser to benefit CASA of Madison and Clark counties and Kentucky. And if you don't know about CASA, it's court-appointed special advocates. They're doing a lot of good things for kids with whose families are in the family court systems across the nation. If you can, take a look at some information, see maybe how you can get involved in your community. Like I said, they're doing a lot of great things for people that need a little bit of extra help. Also, don't forget to check out our Give It a Try highlights. We drop those new pours every Monday night on our social media pages, and be on the lookout for our next cocktail quickie, which is coming to you soon as well on our social media pages. Like I said, a lot of fun there at Hop Spirits, all one word, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out our partners in crime, One Sip Beer Review on Instagram at One Sip Beer Review, and Dad's on the Deck podcast. I always like giving them a shout out as well. Give them a listen. Until next time, cheers everyone.